what's the like craziest place, or like I guess like the most adventurous place you visited or traveled to?
Well, so this kind of is a thing and a place. When I graduated from college, I rode my bike across the country. So I had a 10 speed and trained a little bit, probably not as much as I should have. Went down to Washington, D.C. from Baltimore and started riding. There's this path, dirt path along the Potomac River that starts right in downtown D.C. and it goes 180 miles all the way out to the West Virginia border. So I started riding and then I got to West Virginia and I went into a gas station and got a map because this was pre-cell phone days and picked a road and just kept on riding. And 6 weeks later, I ended up in Seattle, Washington, because I had an aunt that lived there. So that was a place to sort of stay for a couple of days before I took the train home.
How was it riding through like you had to go through the Rocky Mountains, right? So
I did.
How was the climb through the Rocky Mountains?
I have to say the Appalachians were worse. And they were worse, even though they're shorter, they were worse because it was at the beginning of the trip. So I wasn't in very good shape yet, but also the roads there are really steep. Like they just go straight up the side of the mountain, right? In the Rocky Mountains, they built the railroads first, and the railroads have to have a pretty gentle grade. So they've organized, like they found passes and they've put places where the railroads can climb really gradually. And then later when they came and built highways, they just built them next to the railroad. So you are climbing more, but it's gradual. And so as long as you're patient and you're willing to stop and rest sometimes, the Rockies actually weren't as bad.
Yeah. And were you just by yourself?
Yeah. I was on my own. I had a tent. I was camping. One of the things about growing up in the Midwest is, but my friends in Baltimore thought I was nuts. They're like, "You're going to do what by yourself? That's not safe." But having grown up in the Midwest, I sort of felt that people everywhere would be much more like the people that I knew from growing up, which was exactly true. Everybody was super friendly. A lot of times I'd be looking for a place to camp and I'd go into like a diner or something and ask if there was a park nearby or a place where I could camp. Because, on a bike, you can't just, if they tell you there's a state park an hour down the road, they mean an hour driving, right? On a bike, that's a whole nother day. So you can't just run down there. And so I'd ask, and sometimes, I had people let me sleep in their backyard or a field if it was farmers. I had people where they let me sleep. They don't normally allow camping like in a park in the town, but they'll let you, the police would let you do it if they knew you were there and you were just for one night. But what happened even more was people would say, "Are you on your bike out there? Are you by yourself?" And they'd end up inviting me home to stay at their house. Like it would be people who had kids my age or, had, and then and they were all so nice. So they'd feed you, you get a chance to take a shower, which is big when you're riding your bike all day long in the summer. And then the next morning they would all give me the same speech. They would say, you can't just trust strangers to like stay in their house and stuff. And I would look at them and I would say, that's how we met. Everybody was really nice all the way across. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.